Thank you guys all for coming today. Okay, it's 5:30. Are you good? Yeah, you guys are good?
Good.
Okay, so we will call the July 23rd, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. Please join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do today is the interviews for the K through 12 building committee. Just so you all know, we have 9 people have applied in total so far, and then as I think you guys know, we're doing some interviews today and then some on August 13th, and more people could potentially apply between then and now. I think, Deb, you wanted to say something before we start, and then I had a few things I wanted to get your and Ben's opinion on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we need to figure out some logistics, because I'm applying for the building committee. I'm not running again for selectmen. So right now, there could be a potential conflict of interest of me helping select people on the building committee. So I don't know whether I just don't vote for everybody, or, you know, how we work that out. I just wanted to bring that up to try to come up with a solution.
I think you...
And I don't know that we need a solution today because we're starting the interviews, but whether I have to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, personally, obviously, I don't have a problem with you having anything to do with it, but from a procedural point of view, I don't think you should.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly,
I can't.
It's got to be one or the other.
Yeah, yes.
The only thing I was thinking, because obviously I've been thinking about this since you applied, and again, we don't need to decide tonight, is like, I think there might, like, you're the only one of us who's actually been on a K through 12 building committee and also served on the Board of Ed, so like I do want your input and insights on the candidates, and we have a lot of seats to fill, but also there could be a perceived, I think you're always fair and impartial, but there could be a perceived conflict of interest. So is it, do you not vote but still weigh in? Do you vote on some of the seats but not all the seats, knowing that I don't know what's
Yeah,
fair.
I don't know the answer. I think we have obviously some time to come up with it, but I wanted to bring that up because there is a, you know, while I don't feel like I couldn't do it fairly, I do believe there is certainly a conflict of interest. I can't be weighing myself and other people, so you know, we'll have to figure something out. And again, whether I don't vote or whether we figure that I vote for some and not others, I don't know how we do it. I'm not certain the best way to do it, but I did want to
Is this like an
identify.
ethics question,
Yeah, well, I look at it as, I mean, if it was a land use board or something, I think there'd be a very serious conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really any different, you know, unfortunately, just because it's not bad. But
Well, that's why when I started looking at it, I was like, well, I can't do both things, so I don't know how we work it out, but.
I think it's not really a question of like a town attorney, it's more like an ethics, which they always say is kind of the person's personal interpretation.
And I'm happy to
We can see if other
somehow
towns have
turn in my
grappled
own
with it.
opinions to you guys, but just not vote or something like that. You know, I'm okay with, obviously, I don't care either way.
But we can decide after or by the August meeting. But Ben, is there anybody else you'd want us to do, like reach out to other towns, see if they've grappled with it, or like?
I think it'd be a question for the town attorney.
We can ask. Fine. No, thank you for.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up right in the beginning,
Yeah.
because obviously something it has to be a different.
Yeah. One other thing that I've been grappling with, and Stacey and I have been talking about, and I really, again, we don't need to decide tonight, but I want both of your opinions on it and thoughts, and again, if there's other angles to think about that we haven't thought about, but basically, like, I wrote this down so I don't mess it up because it was mind-boggling me. It was like, so, like, we're thinking about the makeup of the whole committee, and we have the 7 regular members, right? And 4 of those are supposed to be kind of, separate, and then there's the 3 that represent, one from Board of Finance, one from Board of Ed, and one from Board of Selectmen. And in the past, what we did was those boards make their own appointment. It's not the Board of Selectmen who chooses who from those boards do it. They do it themselves. I think it still would be a best practice for them to apply and interview, and then they're recorded so people can see them. And if there's other people who are interested, they should be made aware that that is the best practice, so we can tell them that. But right now, we have one current member of the Board of Finance who we're interviewing tonight, who's the candidate, and then one person from the board who's a potential, or is a candidate for the
Yeah,
Board of
she's been
Ed,
endorsed as a candidate.
but not
Yeah.
actually on the Board of Ed.
Who is that?
Katie Quinlan.
Oh, okay.
So, and she's in August, so I think where my mind is grappling with is like, I feel like when we wrote this ordinance and the intent, we don't want to over
Yeah, we don't want it
Is that the right word?
heavily, more heavily weighed towards one board
Yeah.
or another.
Yeah, we want to ensure there's a balance, or like no over-representation from, of a 7-member board. I don't think we want 4 of them to be Board of Ed and Board of Finance
Yeah,
members.
yeah.
Like, and I appreciate that people can wear 2 hats, like we do it all the time in terms of like, engaging with the town, but like with this specific board, I feel like we wrote the ordinance in a certain way. So I just want to think about how to do it fairly to both, Chris and Katie who've already applied, if there's anyone else who might be applying, but how we grapple with that. So again, don't need to make a decision tonight, but I did want to be sure Chris heard this directly. We can reach out to Katie, let her know. I'll reach out to the Board of Ed, Board of Finance, or the Board of Selectmen, to be sure they at least know, like, if anyone's interested, candidate or current, they should be applying, and they
Yeah.
should be interviewing, and that maybe at the August meeting, we can determine, like, how to fairly do that.
I think that if we're appointing, we should be making appointments. I mean, it should be,
think it's just
our
gonna-
vote should be final. If the Board of Finance wants to vote amongst themselves to recommend somebody, I think we consider that candidate, but it's, and I don't know how we deal with it if we decide to reject that candidate.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know how many people from each board would be interested. I mean, maybe Chris is the only one
Maybe
from the Board of
he's the only
Finance that's interested, in which case it's,
The
pretty
other-
straightforward.
I mean, one thing, I'm not necessarily opposed to that, it's just, it's not the precedent that in the past, like.
I mean, I was appointed by Board of Ed to serve
What is
on the
the,
building
what is the
committee.
exact language of the ordinance? Do we know?
It was
Does it say that?
open. It was like, I think intentionally open, where it could be us that appoints it, or it could be
But does
them.
it say that the Board of Ed and the Board of Finance shall be represented, or,
Yeah,
Yes,
they're
it does say that.
so we have to choose somebody?
Yeah, there has to be one person, but whether they determine who that is or we do is one question. The second one is,
Can there be more than one?
which I really don't think, I
I
think
don't
that
think there
violates
should
the
be,
intention of the ordinance, because again, of 7-member board, having 4 people be on these boards, it could even, I mean, potentially future be 6, you could have all the seats taken
Yeah,
up.
but a member of one board is still a private citizen.
They
and
are.
they're not representing that board, and maybe, I don't know what the actual
Yeah, I mean, I just,
responsibility
yeah.
to represent that board is,
Yeah.
and maybe if
Well, I
there were
just
two,
know
if there were
for
2
me-
members, maybe they don't both represent the Board of Finance.
I think it's hard though to.
I think it's hard to do that.
separate.
I'm just thinking for me, I was representing the Board of Ed on the building committee.
Mhm.
So even though I, had a lot of ideas as a private citizen, I was representing the Board of Ed. And so I was reporting back to them, transmitting information to the building committee from the Board of Ed. I was really representing the Board of Ed, and that's kind of the intention, my understanding of how these seats are.
But Ben, I think your point is that somebody could say, yes, I'm on the Board of Ed, but I also am a parent and I'm wearing the parent hat,
Yeah, I
not the
don't
Board of
think
Ed
that-
hat.
I don't
But I
think
think it's
so.
just, I'm nervous about the perception again that now it was supposed to be 4 kind of neutral type of people that were, represented different backgrounds and experiences, and then do we become too heavy on people who are, whether they choose to or not, are in fact on the Board of Ed and Board of Finance and potentially representing those views. So again, don't need to decide. I think we have, over just about a month, but something to think about, and if you want to talk to people
Yeah.
and get
Are
input.
applications closed now?
I mean, like everything, we have a
So until the
suggested
next-
date, but
Until the
yeah,
next interview?
more people could. And like I said, I will reach out to either way, the Board of Ed chair and the Board of Finance chair, to say, please be sure no matter what, anyone, candidate or existing who's interested, applies, so nobody can say it wasn't fair. And then we can decide from there. But you made me think of one other thing about, I forgot, Board of Ed, Board of Finance. But anyways, yeah, so we can see, but I think it'd be good to get just some good thought on that. And then if you have questions that you want us to do any research or outreach on, just, it's a tricky one. And the timing is also really tricky because
Yeah.
we might be seating people, that was the other thing, we might be seating people, likely be seating people before the elections.
Right.
So if someone doesn't get elected, but they wanted to be on here anyways,
Yeah.
then that's another tricky layer.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to, we might say, yeah, you would have been great, but we didn't put you on here because we thought you'd represent this board, but then they don't get elected. It's just a little tricky.
How soon do we actually expect to be seating people? Would it be the end of
September.
August or September?
The September 10th meeting was our goal.
I know that we want to get this going, but maybe we solve a lot of problems by waiting until after the election to actually seat them.
That is one thing. So I think depending on where,
It's 2 months.
Yeah.
I know, but I know the
That would be
school has
3
been
months.
eager to get this started. So we can, again, I think depending, because again, if we go, Ben, your recommended route, then it almost wouldn't matter because we
Yeah.
could hypothetically put those people on and it doesn't, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just something to grapple. There's like, it's like a game of, it's like a puzzle. So
Yeah.
just something to think about, and then just wanted to be transparent with everybody here that we're kind of grappling with this, and if you have thoughts, you're welcome to share them with us, especially Chris being on the Board of Finance, and we'll ask Katie, same thing.
Yeah, I would ask them to weigh in when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we won't judge you on it, no. Here's what we got. Chris, you're actually up first, not to awkwardly put you on the spot again, but just so you guys all know, there's 3 questions. They're pretty much the same questions we ask most board and commission applicants, just tweaked slightly. So you'll all get the same question. Yeah, if you don't mind, that way you're on camera, because we're going to share this with your fellow board members. Do you think they'll watch it?
On YouTube?
It used to be on camera, man.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. No, thank you for applying. Ben, do you want to start with the
Sure.
questions?
Thanks for joining us, Chris. What is your opinion of the responsibilities and primary function of the K through 12 building?
So I think the ordinance is clear that the function of the K through 12 Building Committee is to serve the will of the people, to meet the needs of the town, to deliver the solution to our middle school issue with the structural problems there and the subsequent move to Field Street, and then ultimately the facilities plan. And I think, identifying building life cycles, having set timeframes and cost estimates to refurbish our school buildings is going to be critical for us going forward to understand what our, taxpayer commitment is going to be to further the education of our students. So I think all those things are very important, but, secondarily, when I think about boards and commissions, I think about a group of folks who need to work together collaboratively and put forward a face of togetherness and people who can really work together to find a solution. Because this is not a solution that'll be found by one person. This is not a discussion that can be spearheaded by just a few individuals. It's going to require a lot of work, a lot of collaboration, and a lot of compromise. So ultimately, that's what I want this group to do.
All my favorite C words.
Is it collaboration or compromise?
Both of them.
Plural.
Do you want to go second?
Sure. Please share any relevant experience you have serving on a committee in a volunteer role or through your professional background. We're especially interested in learning about unique skills, perspective, or expertise you would contribute to the K-12 Building Committee.
So I am concluding my first term on Board of Finance. As Danielle said, I'm also a candidate again, so I'll be on the ballot this November for my second term, and I'd be proud to represent the Board of Finance on the K-12 Building Committee, but I have not spoken to the chair about that. Haven't had the opportunity to do so. But my experience, so I'm also the chair of the Climate Change Task Force, so I'm up to date on our climate issues and what we're doing in town to try to address both the causes and effects of global climate change, which I think is relevant here. I also think that my experience in my professional role for over 25 years, I've had roles in IT and cybersecurity, but in the last 5 years, my role has really shifted to risk management, or what they call GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance. So through this role, I review a lot of documentation. I do a lot of technical drawing reviews. I work for a construction company, so I'm used to the lingo and the sorts of contracts that we get through construction management. And also risk management. So, I'm used to identifying what the risks are and how we address those, and writing reports and doing analysis. So all those skills really come into play here, I think, will be valuable to this group.
All right, so last question. If you're appointed to the K through 12 Building Committee, what would you consider to be a successful outcome to your tenure?
Yeah, so absolutely. I think coming to a reasonable compromise with this group to identify a good solution to citing a new middle school or refurbishing the schools that we have, understanding the risks in doing so, and putting forward a good plan to the people of the town. I think that's identified as phase 1 in the ordinance. And then secondly, of course, the phase 2 actually implementing that plan. And thirdly, of course, I did mention the facilities plan to identify opportunities to refurbish our other school buildings and the costs related to doing so, and put that on some sort of schedule. So, I mean, the analogy I like to think of is what Chris Greenlaw does with our bridges, right? So he's done a great job with identifying our bridges and the risks associated with them and their current condition. I think we desperately need something similar with the schools, and identify, when we're going to address the needs of those schools and what those building lifespans look like. And then plan for that in the budget. So ultimately, it's going to be a compromise on cost, it's going to be a compromise on what we can afford for our taxpayers. And, I want to deliver the best education to our students, but everything comes at cost.
Thank you. Do you guys have any questions for Chris?
No.
Go ahead.
Except if you could weigh in on the dilemma of, that we discussed with regard to possible multiple candidates from Board of Finance or Board of Education.
Yeah,
Or
hearing
more time.
about it, my gut says that I would agree that only one member from the Board of Finance and the Board of Education should be seated on that K-12 Building Committee. And if that means that I won't be seated, then I won't be seated. But, I put myself at the mercy of the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you, Chris. Any other any questions for us?
I don't think so.
Fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
We won't hold it against anybody if you leave when you're done. Well, it's a riveting rest of the meeting, but no, thank you. We know you're very busy. So we're just going in order of we received the applications. Matthew?
Yes. Grouch.
Yes.
Matthew.
Yep. Oh, yeah. No, you're actually the only one.
Oh.
Only one to apply.
Okey-doke.
You've been walking in, but do you know Deb and Ben?
No.
No.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thank you. So yeah, spoiler alert, same questions, so we'll read through them again.
Thank you.
Believe me, we have to read them each time.
I've done interviews like this too, just going through it.
Very natural.
Yes.
Just on film now.
Questions that I haven't written.
And do you want to start? Dan?
Sure.
What is your opinion of the responsibilities and primary function of the K through 12 Building Committee?
Primarily two-part. It's kind of functioning as an owner's representative for townspeople between, the interests and project requirements that eventually are developed, interests of the townspeople, project requirements that are eventually developed, and the execution of the project by all the parties involved, general contractor, et cetera, et cetera. But also to help develop some of those project criteria, parameters. And receiving input from, educators, architects, various other school construction professionals as to what's worked in the past, what hasn't worked at other locations. And among the committee, determining the criteria that we want to put out to install. That's kind of it. So, yeah, owner's rep in short.
Thank you.
Let me do
Yes,
that.
do you want?
Please share any relevant experience you have serving on a committee, in a volunteer role, or through your professional background. We're especially interested in learning about what unique skills, perspectives, or expertise you would contribute to the K-12 Building Committee.
I'm a professional engineer in thermal fluid systems. My education is in civil engineering. I've worked as a facilities engineer in project management and construction for 10 plus years. First for Plum Islands, ASRC, and now for General Dynamics in Quonset Point. So I am very familiar, I feel like my skills overlap very well with what this committee would want to have on it. Someone with experience developing project requirements, writing a scope, reviewing it with, depending on what the project type is like, design build, design bid build, whether we're securing a design first, then refining project parameters, or it's packaged with construction, but I digress. Owning, refining, seeing the process through, reviewing submissions, tweaking, improving. Basically following through an oversight of execution of all stages of the project, not just development of the parameters, but I think kind of more like I said, like an owner's rep where, and actually I did want to ask, and Deb, was it?
Mm-hmm.
You were on a previous building committee.
Yes.
Was there an owner's rep hired?
We hired
to
an
liaise
owner's rep.
Okay, who was it, out of curiosity?
It was Colliers.
Okay, yeah, they did the commissioning for one of the buildings at Quonset Point
Yeah,
recently.
yeah. Yeah, we decided, again, in brief, that we needed the assistance of an owner's rep. The previous building committee did not. They had somebody on the committee who felt like they could handle that, but we didn't have anybody with that kind of experience.
Mhm. Yeah,
Go
yes.
either way.
I would like, just given that this is a volunteer position, to also have that position. I don't, you don't need a second job. Yeah, so I have a lot of project management experience, various types of building additions, mobile laboratory, various systems installations, infrastructure expansions, all stages of the contract process, construction, commissioning. My first job out of college was with a structural engineer who built schools in New Haven, still in business. It's Falconer. So, yeah, kind of the long and short of it.
Thank you. And so, yeah, last one is, if you are appointed to the K-12 Building Committee, what would you consider to be a successful outcome of your tenure?
That the project is executed according to requirements. I thought of it as not to be glib, but a healthy, happy, educated middle school population. But that the parents and townspeople are happy with the tools the educational tools that we provide for them through this project, and the equity that those tools are also providing.
Thank you. Do you guys have follow-up questions?
No.
Mike, any questions for us?
We still haven't decided whether improvements to the existing middle school will be made or a new middle school will be.
That will be part of the
That'll be
purview
part
of the committee. So this is kind of a unique committee. I think in the past, typically when we've created K-12 building committees that already been established or decided or even funded, but this is like from start through the whole time. So like this committee will decide through evaluation and engagement,
Yeah.
like is nothing needed, is something needed, what does that something look like?
Has some conditions assessment been performed on that building?
Yeah, some, and then I think there's probably more needed,
Okay.
and that'd be like working with like the facilities person at the school, who's great, to kind of say we might need a little bit more, working with the Board of Finance, maybe to say, hey, we need some money for this kind of testing or that, and see if they'll give it to you. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it'll be a lot of, I think, fact finding at first to decide what is the direction and engagement and figuring out our financial capacity and all those things,
Mhm.
and then from there, seeing where to go.
Okay. And will the committee be involved with, like, the quality or effectiveness of the existing information as it is?
Yes, I think that would be
Okay.
part of the goal, would be to say, this is like the information we feel like is missing for this type of decision-making and the public, and, what do we need
Okay.
to do? And I think, as we mentioned, I think, and Chris kind of brought up too, would be, we have 2 new elementary schools, obviously, but we have the middle school as the primary driver, but we all should also, if we're looking at this, be looking at the high school at the same time, just to see if they do fit together or not, or how they might be.
I think there
related.
could be some cost savings with having someone like me with some experience in evaluating that sort of conditions assessment type stuff ahead of time, so we can get a little bit ahead
Mhm.
before we make this.
Thank you, that was a good question.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Thank you. Sam, you're up next, thank you.
Thank you.
How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you.
You know, I know you know
Deb,
Debbie,
I've known
do you
for
know?
a long time.
A long
Do you know
Ben,
Deb?
I've never met. Ben, nice to meet you, my pleasure. Thank
I
you.
think we've crossed paths.
Yes, I'm sure we have.
Nice to see you, thank you for applying.
Thank you.
So same thing, 3 questions, we'll go through them, and then if you have questions for us or anything else.
Okay.
So, Ben, you want to start again?
Sure, what is your opinion of the responsibilities and primary function of the K through 12 building?
First, I want to say thank you for the opportunity. Secondly, I want to say I want to ditto what Chris has mentioned and what Matt has mentioned, and add to that. Being that I've served in the past 50 years on 2 different building committees, Pawcatuck Middle School as well as the high school, the committee's makeup is extremely important. It's going to be very diversified. There'll be people from all walks of life, all types of education experience. Everyone would need to know and understand that everyone's entitled to their opinion, their expression. You can agree to disagree, and there will be, right off the bat, there will be many robust debates during the process. I think that's pretty much all I could say as far as answering that particular question, because everything else has been said. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, second one. Please share any relevant experience you have serving on a committee, in a volunteer role, or through your professional background. We're especially interested in learning about unique skills, perspectives, or expertise you would contribute to the K-12 building committee.
If it pleases the board, if you don't mind if I look at my list
No, of
that
course not.
No.
Okay. I don't know if you have a copy of the application I submitted,
Yes.
Yes.
but just to put it on record, when I made this list, I didn't realize over the last 50 years that I've been involved so much. I know that I have been, and I'm very, very happy and humbled over the things that I've had the opportunity to do. So I'm just going to read it verbatim, if I may, especially for the record. As I mentioned, I have served on 2 previous building committees. Going back to the mid-70s, I was the town treasurer for 12 years. I was then elected to the Board of Education for an additional 12 years. I was an original member and Board of Trustee and original treasurer of the Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center. I was a member co-chair of the Community Development Advisory Commission, otherwise known as CDAC, when it was in place back in the 70s and 80s. I was a member of the Sewer Authority Community Advisory Board. I was a member of the first and only Conflict of Interest Committee that we had in Stonington back in 1980-81, which had to do with a planning and zoning real estate issue that went on. That's the only one I know of at this particular point in time. I was a board of director of the Westerly Pawcatuck Downtown Business Advisory Board, also a board of director of the Westerly Pawcatuck Chamber of Commerce, member of the Pawcatuck Lions Club, Mystic Rotary Club. Currently, I am 20 years now a founding member and current chair of the Stonington High School Athletic Hall of Fame Committee. As far as commitment and what I would bring to the committee, I believe, especially in my years with all my 4 children, 4 adult children now, I know every school building, top to bottom, serving on 2 building committees. I've also been on every school PTO or SBIT over the years. So, along with my 12 years of experience on the Board of Education, knowing what goes on inside the building as well as what goes on outside the building, I think where my expertise would be, I have an associate's degree in business administration from Johnson & Wales. I never did go on to attain the bachelor's. I have 24 years of banking experience and 31 years of hospitality experience. And I'm ready to serve if I'm called upon. Thank you.
Okay, last one. So if you're appointed, what would you consider a successful outcome?
Again, I would ditto what's been said by Chris and Matt, and adding to that, that the Stonington Public School System has been statewide and nationally recognized over the years for various things. And I think we have something there that is the base, the foundation, that we can build on to make Stonington Public Schools even stronger than it is at this particular point in time. Very proud of Stonington. I was born here, graduate of Stonington, as my wife was, and all my 4 adult children, and my 6 of my grandchildren are currently in school now, and my 2 adult grandchildren went through the system as well. So, committed, I'm not going anywhere. So,
Thank you for all your service.
thank you. I appreciate that. I would answer Ben's question if I may.
Yeah.
I know that you want to stay with that September 10th. I think that was the deadline when you were trying to establish it. I think with all of the new information that we have, with the different boards and commissions and people running who may not run and who may get on and may not get on, to give the Board of Ed and the Board of Finance the opportunity, and the Board of Selectmen, the opportunity to have new boards and really pick and choose the best candidate that they may have to sit on the building committee. I think it would be an advantage to wait until after the election is done and then make the decisions at that point. Just my opinion. And I'll answer any other question that you have as well.
Did you accept follow-up
No,
questions?
no.
No,
Okay.
that's good.
All right.
Do you have any other
Okay.
questions for us or feedback?
I do not. I do not. Everything is great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dan? Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think we got the introductions, but yeah,
Yep.
okay, good. Thank you so much for coming. Do you want to stick with the same order?
Yeah, sure. Good evening. What is your opinion of the responsibilities and primary function of the K-12 building?
Well, I agree with my predecessor's statements as far as what we need here. I think maybe just to embellish on that, we really need to understand the town and the student population's needs, make sure that they have a comfortable, safe environment in either an existing building that we renovate or a new building that we construct. I think we need to make sure that any taxpayer money that is spent on these projects is spent effectively and not wasted. And I think we need to be part of making sure that the architects and designers that are working on developing these plans have listened to the needs of the town and understand what the town is asking for so they can properly design the facilities. Lastly, I think we need to be part of reviewing contractor qualifications depending on what method is determined for constructing these buildings, whether it's through a construction manager or hard bid GCs or whatever. So.
Okay, great. Please share any relevant experience you have serving on a committee in a volunteer role or through your professional background. We're especially interested in learning about unique skills, perspectives, or expertise that you would contribute to the K-12 building committee.
Sure. So I've been in the construction business for over 40 years. Started out with my father's company, and we did a lot of municipal, institutional work. And then about 30 years ago, my brother and I spun off of his business and started our own company, Carlin Construction. And we've been doing the same type of projects that my father did, as well as pursuing more private commercial work, working for nonprofits and such. And I've done everything from pouring concrete to estimating jobs to running projects, diverse background in all types of vertical construction. We've done a lot of work in this area. Mystic Aquarium, we've done a lot of work. Mystic YMCA. And so in the context of those jobs, we're familiar with trying to work in active public spaces that are occupied. Phasing could be an important part of some of these projects. So we would want to be part of the team. I would want to be part of the team that would help to facilitate that properly. I've got good knowledge of different building materials and the costs, benefits, and disadvantages of them. Working for the state of Connecticut or the National Guard, I know a lot about bureaucracy. So I can get through that stuff pretty good.
Thank you.
So again, last question. So if you were appointed, what would you consider to be a successful outcome?
Again, like the gentlemen before me have stated, I also think that we want to make sure that we can complete any construction that we do with minimal disruption to the students and the staff of the buildings. We want to make sure that when we are figuring out what these projects want to look like and what they're going to cost, that we're sensitive to everybody who's at the table, people who have kids and want the best of everything, and people who are past that age and are more fiscally conservative, and balance those two competing needs. And then last but not least, just make sure that we can maintain the budgets that we generate and give to the taxpayers to vote on, and complete the projects on schedule to when we promise to deliver. Just by way of background, I'm new to the town. I've only lived here for 6 months.
Welcome.
But I've lived in the area since I was 12 years old. I had previously served on a building committee in Lyme, Old Lyme, and that was about 18 years ago. We were doing a high school project. We were in pre-construction at that point in time. I was only able to serve for 6 months because we had an opportunity. We found a different house in Old Saybrook, so we moved out of town. I could no longer participate. But I'm familiar with working in that environment, collaborating in that capacity, collaborating with owners, with architects, and designers to make sure that we're coming up with the best solutions, and do the same thing at work all the time. We do design build a fair amount of the time, or construction management, and are heavily involved in the pre-construction side of things, so I've got that tool in my belt as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you have a follow-up question?
No?
I was just wondering, so is that the building committee 18 years ago, is that your sole experience on the committee?
It is.
Yeah. Very good, thanks.
Do you have any questions for us, Dave?
I guess you said that you want to anticipate trying to make a selection in time to have a meeting September 10th?
At our September 10th meeting, we'd make the selections,
Okay.
and then it'd be up to the committee then maybe meeting for the first time later in September, early October.
Mm-hmm. And is there any kind of timeline established at this point?
Not beyond that. It's really like typically with these boards, it'll be once a month. Whoever's on the board will work like with our internal team to figure out where we find space, and based on everyone on the committee's schedule too. So like meetings could be anywhere usually from 5 to 7 p.m. starting time, and usually Monday through Thursday. Typically only meeting once a month unless something's needed, like maybe an on-site tour or doing some sort of outing. And then, like we said, it's really going to be the first few months, for however long it takes for the committee to decide, get all the information they need to decide what are the next steps in terms of what direction it goes.
Okay.
So it's hard to say. I mean, the
Right.
last one, I was on the committee for 5 or 6 years before I had to step down because I was elected as selectman, but they finished like the
Yeah.
next year. So it's hard to say how many years.
This
It's-
could be a long term.
It could be long.
Because we haven't
yeah.
even decided
Yeah.
what to do yet.
For the
Yeah,
auditing.
in the committee that you were on, Deb, right?
Yes, yes.
Was anything, what was built?
Yes, it was a different direction. We were basically looking at the elementary schools.
Okay.
And, while we
Okay.
did look at that time, we started looking for middle school, then we concentrated on elementary schools and basically renovated as new 2 elementary schools.
Okay, Dean's Mill and,
Dean's Mill and
Yeah,
West
fine,
Point.
yeah.
And we put a roof on Pawcatuck Middle School.
okay, yeah. So are those through the system now? Is this primarily going to involve the middle school and high school?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So those are
Probably,
in
yeah.
good shape,
Yeah.
mostly. So yeah, it would be really, the middle school is what prompted this, but then knowing the high school, should also be looked at as part of all this.
Okay.
But again, I think, people coming in with an open mind and trying to get the right data and facts together and see what direction to go.
And while they are through the schools, through the system, a long-term facilities plan would certainly include looking at those schools as well.
yeah. Okay, good,
Thank you so much, thank you very much. Sheamus? Oh, and then you're last. This is gonna be weird. Are you gonna sit over there?
I don't know where I can go over there, I guess.
Thank you very much. So,
Yeah, thanks for having me, appreciate
for the introductions, it was
Yes.
great, yeah. So thank you so much.
We know each other.
Same, oh yeah, okay, same questions.
Depends at all my meetings.
I need all my meetings.
Yeah, that's right.
What is your opinion of the responsibilities and primary function of the K-12 building?
I guess let me just start. I'm Sheamus Moran. I didn't introduce myself yet. I live in Sunnyton, work in Sunnyton, love the community. I wasn't born here, but we've lived here for 9 years now. We were knowing before that. Love the area, love the community. Candidly, I didn't even know this was going on until my wife mentioned it to me. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you guys for having me today. So in terms of responsibilities, we know that the town people have spoken. There's an issue with the school, and I think that what precipitated is this K through 12 building committee as a result. I think what is written about the committee is pretty well defined. But the members of the committee, I think what our task is to get the ball rolling, to satisfy the concerns. Personally, I have kids in the school system, and I know everybody wants to get things done yesterday, like any developer. And what I think our task would be is a representative for the townspeople, almost as the townspeople as a developer. The townspeople want things fixed. They want the school fixed. They want to be ahead of the curve. So if something like this happens again, where you're not 2 steps back, kind of immediately. And that's why the committee is formed. So I think the goal of the committee is to fix some immediate issues, but plan so we don't have those kind of immediate issues in 10 years from now. So we have a plan in place, so that way in 10 years, that if that issue arises, we have a plan in place. So I think that is the task of the committee.
Okay, please share any relevant experience you have serving on a committee, in a volunteer role, or through your professional background. We're especially interested in learning about the unique skills, perspectives, or expertise you would contribute to the K-12 building committee.
Thank you. I don't have the volunteer experience that everybody else does here. I'm usually the one standing right there and presenting to the commissions and the boards. I'm a professional engineer in Connecticut, in Rhode Island. I started my own business, a land development civil engineering firm in Stonington. We're in Mystic, H&H Engineering Associates. So I'm before the commissions a lot, the Wetlands Commissions, the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Police Commission, Planning and Zoning Commission. So I know how commissions work. I know how good commissions work. In particular, Mr. Sheehan obviously does a fantastic job. You have to have people talking about the same things. If you get people straying, then meetings go on for 6 hours long. Nobody wants that. People want to get things done. They want to be in, they want to be out, and they want to resolve things. While I haven't sat on
that side of the table yet. I would be eager and happy to do so. Knowing that I work with developers all the time, the developers are always pushing, we're always late on things, even though it just started yesterday. Taking that perspective to the opposite side and trying to get things done, I think is something that I could bring to the commission. Not necessarily sidestepping best decision-making, but hopefully moving things along a little bit quicker as almost a developer would. So that's what I think I could bring.
Thank you.
Sure.
So that's the same last question. If you are appointed, what would you consider to be a successful outcome?
Sure. So again, I have 2 children in the school system. They're not quite in the middle school. It's approaching quickly though. I do know plenty of friends in the community and their kids go to the schools. Like I said, I'm not from Stonington, but I knew of the Stonington school system. That's one of the reasons we moved here. We love Stonington. I think the school system is a building block for a town. I think everybody's proud of the school system, no matter if you have children in the school system, or you were raised in the school system, or you want your grandchildren to be raised in the school system. I think everybody in the community, that's one item that everybody in the community can kind of get behind and support, is a healthy, supportive school system. And I think what we need to do is some short-term fixes. We need to be creative. We need to get some changes made for the middle school right now. I hear it from our friends. I hear it's just, obviously it's out there. That's why the committee's being formed. We need to come up with some creative solutions. It's not always, what's the most expensive option? Let's do that because it's going to get it done. Maybe there's options. Maybe there's other ways, creative ways to satisfy some of the overcrowding that we're having, some of the issues that the middle school's having. Coming up with a short-term solution for that, while also systematically putting a plan in place, looking at all of the other school systems. So 2 applicants ago said he's been part of every single school, he knows every single school. I'm not making the decisions. That would be fantastic on a board like this, to know what the school systems are, to know what the buildings are like, to then put in place what buildings need, what improvements quicker, so that way we can avoid any potential issues. And developing that long-term plan, so that way, if it's, say for example, another middle school, if there's a short-term fix right now, that's great, we'll Band-Aid it, and then we'll have a long-term fix for the 10-year solution or the 15-year solution. And if there's a 20-year solution because the high school is starting to see some wear and tear somewhere, or one of the elementary schools, it's the 20-year plan is going to be that school, the 25-year plan will be the following school. So it's knowing where we are, developing a plan, so that way we don't get caught off guard again, and we kind of protect ourselves.
Thank you. Do you guys have any questions? No. Do you have any questions for us?
But no.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
This is really nice. It's great to have so many wonderful people. So thank you all so much.
Appreciate you guys.
Very much. Debbie, you're our last one if you want to. Slightly awkward, but go for it.
Put my coat on now.
Because Ben and I will join over there, especially the girls. And then like we said, so we'll just, after this, again, everybody's welcome to stay, but after this, we actually have a pretty simple meeting. We are gonna, though, talk a little about the Alpha Ave Viaduct project, if anybody's interested in that, and then we just do some updates, just so you guys know, in case you don't want to stay. Okay, Leah, this is so weird.
You got the question, sir?
No, you gotta read them, I don't know.
Well, we've been reading them for 6 years. Do you want to start?
Sure, what's your opinion of your responsibilities and primary function of the K-12 board?
Yeah, given that we wrote it, it's, basically it's, and everyone has really echoed different things that I have agreed with, everything that they said, but, we're looking at basically a long-term facilities plan with some priorities, with obviously highlighting the middle school at this point, but not just the middle school, looking at the other buildings, We know that there are things in high school that are coming up. Things will come up in the elementary schools even though they're new, but what we're hoping to get is kind of a long-term prioritized plan.
Oh, I guess I can read your question. Okay, this is the hard one, as I never want it. Please share any relevant experience you have serving on a committee, in a volunteer role, or through professional background, and we're especially interested in learning about what unique skills, perspective, or experience you would contribute.
So I'm going to read some, I
Yeah,
put everything
go for it.
together for my application, and I'm not going to pull it off the top of my head. So I have lived in Stonington for 30 years, and for over 25 years, I've volunteered on a variety of local committees. Like Sam, I was PTO president, SBIT president, booster president, all the way up through the schools. So even before I was elected to the Board of Ed, where I did serve 2 terms, I knew the schools very well. All 3 of my children went through the schools until last week. My sister was teaching in the Stonington school system. So I, know the schools well. I know a lot about them. I was, on selection committees for the superintendent, for assistant superintendents, and other positions. I have a Bachelor of Science in Geology and in Biology, and I have a master's degree in Hydrogeology. For the past, 30-something years, I've worked in Connecticut as a licensed environmental professional. We work for private companies, we work for municipalities. A lot of the work I do also includes school suitability studies and suitability studies for other institutions. I also do, as you guys know, brownfield work, helping redevelop brownfield properties and understanding contamination issues, including issues with hazardous building materials, which we ran across in the last building committee. It actually really upped the cost. There's a lot of premium costs associated with that. I think my professional experience gives me a good understanding of the suitability and potential issues with development, both for sites, are there premium issues associated with developing certain sites, is there contamination, are there wetland issues, as well as understanding the needs of the schools. I was, as I said, an active member of the last K-12 building committee from 2014 to 2019. And in that committee, we did evaluate potential school locations. We solicited bids for an architect, an owner's rep, and construction manager, and did go through construction. And I was able to use my professional skills to help with the hazardous building material issues especially. This was interfacing with attorneys, with regulators. I went up and did meet with DEP, met with the EPA, so I was able to help a lot in that. Let's see what else I talked about that. I've served, obviously, 3 terms on the Board of Selectmen. Prior to that, I was on wetlands for 15 years, including serving as chairman and co-chair. I was on the Water Pollution Control Authority, the Stormwater Task Force, and recently I've attended the Flood Erosion Control and Climate Resilience Commission meetings, which I call the FERC, which I probably shouldn't. But so I've been very familiar with the more recent work they're doing. I've been attending a lot of webinars about coastal resiliency and meeting with regulators in other towns about that. I'm active in several professional organizations in Connecticut. I served as community co-chair of the Sub-Bay Superfund Restoration Advisory Board for like 15, 16 years, which helped the public make sense of the technical data. Basically that was my job. I was kind of translating technical data for the public. And also more recently, I was selected for the past 5 years to serve on the release-based cleanup standard. It's a committee established by DEP because they're changing the environmental regulations in Connecticut, and I was selected to be kind of a small municipality representative on that committee. So I've been doing that, and I've been chairing subcommittees for the past 5 years for that. The regs will come in March 1st, that's it. So I probably said way more than I needed to, but that's what I
I
had.
learned something. Thank you. Ben, do you want to do the last one?
Sure. If you're appointed to the K-12 building committee, what would you consider to be a successful outcome?
I think what I really would love to see is a long-term prioritized facilities plan. And certainly, and I think you mentioned it well, the short-term fixes for the middle school, which I think we need obviously, but we really need that long-term plan. We've never had that long-term plan. We've talked about it. I think it's just so important to be able to look ahead a few years and not just like, oh no, we need a roof next year, to have something in place. And I think it's also really important that the building committee can communicate their findings along the way to the public and get public buy-in. So it isn't a surprise at the end. We've, have some public hearing, have some information sessions, and try to get different ideas from people, because you learn so much from different people's ideas. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No?
Do you have any questions? Thank you. Yeah. And did we miss anyone? Okay. All right, so like we said, August 13th, we, as of now, will be interviewing Bryce Moynihan, Danny Oliverio, and Katie Quinlan, and then there could be other people who apply, but really, truly, thank you all. We have a lot of openings, similar to most towns, on a number of boards, and it's really hard typically to find people, and the fact that you all are here and reached out is really amazing, and says, I think, a lot about the community and about you all, so thank you so much. And if you're interested in any other boards, we do have a list of openings on the website, but it is really appreciated.
And I love how, you guys, well, obviously Sam, you've been volunteering for years, but, and Chris, but the fact that you're new and coming and volunteering and offering to do this is fabulous, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. So now on to our very exciting next item is a motion to reappoint Henry Gord to the Housing Opportunities Commission. Oh, did I miss the minutes? Oh, sorry.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, wait, did I?
Comments from the public?
Oh, yeah, I
Comments from
skipped a
public.
whole
Wait, you
page.
missed the whole-
I missed a whole page, sorry. Any comments from the public? Okay. Motion. Could I get a motion to approve the special meeting minutes of July 9th, 2025?
So moved.
I was confused.
Okay. Do you still want to second it?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, please be seated. Then under correspondence, again, just to note, as we talked about, we got, so Dan Oliverio, Katie Quinlan, Sam Agnello Sr., Deb Downey, Dan Carlin, Sheamus Moran, all submitted applications for the K-12 building committee. So just in the record. And now for reappointment. Do I hear a motion to reappoint Stuart Cole and Ben Baldwin to the Conservation Commission?
So moved.
Great.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, they've been on there a while, and it's great that they're
Yeah.
offering to stay on.
I did say thank you. Then now, could I get a motion to oh, sorry, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're busy thinking now. Then now a motion to reappoint Henry Gord to the Housing Opportunities Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, thank you.
Yeah, I think we still have one opening on there. No, but yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, nothing under old business. Under new business, I just wanted to give like a more official update, so maybe other people wouldn't be quite as caught off guard as we were. So just to give a background, the Alpha Ave Viaduct project. So a few years ago now, actually, we were first engaged by Connecticut Department of Transportation, DOT, regarding this project, and there were concerns that were raised. They immediately were, I'd say, really great partners, came around the table, addressed those concerns, changed their scope of the project to very early stages, and since then we felt like we've been on a good path. I'd say just actually mid-June, we had another meeting with them where they, again, went, I think, above and beyond. They were going to have a virtual meeting and offered to have it be in person and come down to Stonington for this end of July meeting. They shared a presentation with us showing, obviously some potential impacts along kind of the sides of the bridge, but that was really the extent of it. And that was the last we had touched. And we posted it on the town website and shared it. And then, unfortunately, then they, which I understand they have a process, and it was through their, I think, right-of-way team, they sent out information directly to the abutting property owners, and with quite different and significant impacts potentially on their properties. And that was a different division, and they kind of were following their stuff, and they were trying to do it quickly before the meeting. I think everybody was very well intended, but they missed the step of letting either the borough warden or myself know about the change. And again, luckily, we have some great residents and nonprofits and business owners who are all really understanding and reached out to us to say what's going on and what can we do and how can we kind of work together. So we pretty much immediately started setting up meetings with everybody that wanted to meet that was impacted, asked DOT for a call right away, which again, they were very responsive right away. This past Monday, we got on a call with a number of people on DOT. We'd also reached out to our state rep and state senator. They've been great and actually helped us now, Senator Summers helped us get a call with the DOT commissioner likely tomorrow afternoon, just to further be sure everybody's aware of what's happening. But essentially we're still kind of in an information gathering stage, but the impacts seem more substantial. So we're trying to see, one, could they go back to the original footprint? And the reason that they've shared so far why the change happened was they were trying to keep 2 lanes of traffic open, and that was a request from our emergency first responders, specifically fire chief down there. And I'm going to chalk it up to maybe just a communication breakdown where they thought they were doing what the town and borough were asking, but kind of failed to inform us that as a result of keeping 2 lanes over, they were going to have to move the bridge 12 feet over and now very significantly impact 2 properties that otherwise might not have had any impact. So we are working with the police department. They've been great. They've already put up a new traffic counter to get traffic counts for this week and next week. And we said literally this is probably the busiest week of the entire year for the borough. So we'll be able to show what a really high traffic count looks like. Because the other thing that they had shared with us was the other reason that they went with the 2A was they had their own traffic count done 2 years ago, and it was like 6,000 cars a day they thought they'd estimated. That seemed high to most of us. So, but again, maybe we're wrong. So again, we'll get data, and that'll be helpful.
When's that going to take place?
The PD's already doing it, so they started right away. Everybody moved really quick, which was super nice. So they're doing this week one way and then next week the other way. So we'll get a full week of data, and Deputy Chief Olson has been really helpful on that. So we're doing that, and then in the meantime, DOT said they'll redo their kind of modeling and be able to say if in fact it was back in the original footprint and with just the 1 lane alternating open, I forgot what to say them. Would it have no impact on those properties or much less, and what would it look like? So that's one thing. The other thing is I think in the conversations with everyone realizing the potential impact that 3 years of construction, concerns about the drilling and potential structural impacts and other things, the Como's impacted no matter really what, because part of their building is underneath it, is to say like, should we revisit and re-talk about the repair option versus a full replacement? So again, we said to Chris Greenlaw, our town engineer, was wonderful, again, kind of made this his top priority, and quickly today got a letter out with input from all of us to DOT kind of outlining what we'd like to see at next week's meeting, and so the public can see it ahead of time. And some things might take longer, but that's our goal, but including a sort of like really just essentially a pro-con list of really further breaking down in detail the full replacement, which was what, 75 plus year return on investment. It's the money is there now federally. That opportunity very likely won't exist in the future versus a repair. So what's the the cost benefit essentially analysis of if we do a repair, is that only buying us 10 years? Is it buying us 20, 30? Like we feel like we need more information on the repair option, because again, we don't want to leave the community in a bad place where 10 years from now they're like, you had $40 million and you just kind of rushed it aside and now we still have to do the same thing. But if there's a repair option that might buy us, significantly more time and still, use a good chunk of that federal money that's been allocated. We just want to dive in deeper because again, the original conversations was there was very minimal impact to the property, and now it's more significant. But again, we also talked with Dodson's and with the Como, and everybody's been and one property owner, private property owner, everybody's been very reasonable and understanding that, there will be some impacts on the other, and they just want to be sure it's fair, and they also want to be sure they're not caught off guard and, communication improves. So again, we gave that feedback to DOT. They seem to take it really well. Like I said, the state partners have been good. I'll keep you guys updated. Unfortunately, This is DOT's meeting on the 31st, and again, looked like it was gonna be just a nice informal 15% design update. So I'm not here. I know Debbie isn't here.
Yeah.
Michael Sheffers will be there. I don't know if you are
Yeah,
able to go. Okay.
That'd be great.
Again, it'll be recorded, thank you to Mike, so I'll definitely watch it. And the other thing is, I put out a new update on the town app and the website. And did you do social media for it too? And Stacy did social media for it too? To just be sure people were aware of the change.
Yeah.
Since we first put out the notice and the presentation, I didn't even include the presentation this time because I think it's changed and I don't want people to be
Yeah.
confused. And then we also highlighted where people could send comments. So that's the other thing I just wanted on the record is that following the July 31st meeting, people have 2 weeks where they can submit feedback to DOT. So August 14th is the deadline. And there's 2 different email addresses and 2 different numbers and a project reference number. So, my sense is they do need to, they have a direction they want to go, understandably, return on investment, kind of engineering wise, what they think is best. But they are very interested why they're doing this, in public input, and based on the public's input, they really could either, stay the course or change or modify scope. So I do think this is a time where we can help facilitate and get the word out and help set up these meetings and be sure people are, aware. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be me or Michael Sheffers making the call. Like, the public needs to engage and participate in this if they want to see it changed. So if you guys feel like we're missing something or not doing something to get the word out, definitely let us know.
Can you
Yeah.
refresh my memory on the funding, the status of the funding? We funded some of it.
We're locked in at 1.2 million, which we funded, and
Yeah.
it's sitting there. Then the rest of 80% is coming from federal funds that they've committed, that they said are there, and whatever the gap is, the state has committed to doing.
Okay, so
And
even
then-
with the redesign,
Yeah.
the original redesign, presumably that's a greater expense.
It is. It
But
was
we're
like
still
a-
committed to the one.
Exactly, and we got that in writing from everyone. So it was originally like a $25 million project, something like that, and it's up to over 40 now.
Yeah,
So I mean,
it could grow considerably.
and it could keep growing. So it is definitely a challenge, but again, so far I do feel like minus the communication issue, I do feel like everybody has been trying to be really good partners, and I hope it continues that way, but I do want to emphasize, I think if people want to see it change, they have to engage, and again, so far, people we've been talking to seem committed to doing that and helping to get the word out and to engaging, productively, to understand, like, we do need to do something with this bridge, it can't be nothing, but what is that, what does it look like? And like I said, the people at DOT have been, so far, very good to work with, so hopefully it continues that way.
And I've been driving through Beebe Cove all summer,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a 1-lane with a light. And it, honestly, you don't have to wait that long, somehow I always hit it, but it seems like it works. And I would
Did you
have,
say Beebe Cove?
Beebe Cove, it's the road
Knowing.
through Knowing, it runs.
They did that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that light's up now, it's like.
Oh, you're saying when it was?
Yeah,
when it
yeah,
was- Yeah,
yeah.
okay, I was
Oh, no,
wondering,
no,
wait,
now
they're not
it's
doing
like
it
you
again?
sit- There's a light, so you just
Oh,
sit and
oh.
you wait, they're fixing that
Yeah.
bridge.
Yeah.
So it's ongoing, and it seems like if they could work something out with the emergency management people, that they could control that light or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, if something happened, to be able to pause
Yeah,
it.
you obviously need to be able to do something, but
I will say,
it
'cause I
seems like
can't.
that's another heavy traffic road. so.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, if you guys think of things, like we said, between now and before the 31st that you feel like we should be doing to help get the word out, or any help you can provide in getting the word out is appreciated, and
And
then,
that's at the high school.
yeah, and then after that, it's at 6:30 at the high school. After that, there will be another key period of engagement. Okay, well, that's it for that. Then street number assignment. The request is that street number for map 149, block 1, lot 3 become street number 50, Benjamin Stanton, Pentway, Mystic, Connecticut, 06355. Could I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, comments or updates or anything? Ever been?
Nothing.
Nothing really. The only thing I will highlight, and I haven't pulled the information together, is the My Coast app did go live. So people will be able to use it to take photos of, areas of flooding or super high tide, and it will record it on this app, and then they'll be collecting all the data. One thing that I had thought it might be really useful for, and we can maybe kind of revisit, is the people on Mason's Island that were talking about, putting stakes in
Oh,
to
yep.
measure the erosion. It's the kind of thing where you could pick a spot and, on a scheduled basis, take a photo. So, maybe that's something that they can do. So it's going to be something we're going to come up with ideas, and maybe that flood and erosion, whatever they are, the FERC can take this on to try to engage different
That's a
groups
great
to get
idea.
involved, because I think it could be very helpful for us, not just in Mystic, but, other places where we're
Can
seeing.
you say it's live now?
It is live.
Can you send
I'll
us a
send you
link?
the link, yes, because I was able to download it.
Yeah.
And I think that 3 of us from the flood and erosion control, a couple from there, and I went to the training, so we know how to do it, and so we can kind of train other people.
That's really good.
But that's it. And to say that they moved the house yesterday at the Boathouse Park.
I didn't get to look at it.
And it didn't fall over. I mean, it's in its temporary spot, and then they'll have to move it again.
Okay, I'll be quick because I know that's a lot. I am trying to think where to start. Maybe just to update you guys, because we had a few discussions on this in the past. We did have an internal meeting with folks from Seaport Heights neighborhood, and the chair of planning and zoning was there, 2 members from the police commission, myself, I think that was it, and then the residents there. And I think it was productive, and we're going to have a follow-up, another meeting.
The chief wasn't.
He wasn't able to go, something had happened, and he wasn't able to attend, but 2 people from the police commission were there. So again, they're still in their data collection phase, so once that comes out, they'll, again, we told them, again, to reiterate, like, the police commission are running point on this, and that can be their good go-to, but obviously, the rest of us are all here for anything that they need, and based on when that data comes out, can pivot and look at more, but they were able to kind of share more, their insights and experiences, and I think it was nice for them to be able to connect directly with the chair for planning and zoning, and we said, basically, like, just because we're following, in our opinion, my opinion, like, the letter of the law, doesn't mean there isn't still room for improvement for whether it's our board, any board, we're all there kind of doing our best, but feedback from the public is helpful because then we can see, are there areas for improvement, for better communication or engagement or process that could be improved. So they shared like 1 or 2 things there, but they said they'd think a little bit more and follow up. And one new gentleman came, and he was very, very nice and thoughtful, and kind of, it was just, I think it was an overall positive meeting, one that will need to be continued. The other thing that's happening right now, it's taking up a lot of time, is there's 2 different cell tower applications going to the siting council. Since residents have started engaging more on this topic, I've gotten more educated. Again, since the last time we made the one, I think, improvement, which is on planning and zoning department site, we now have a siting council application segment where whenever they get that, they now put it up so people can, subscribe if they want to, or be there, be more aware. But again, there's probably more improvements, so we're open to it. I have a meeting coming up with some people that are impacted from the Wheeler Road area, Harvey Wheeler Road area. But the other thing is I'm debating and thinking about is like, should I write something for the website and maybe even the newspaper? Because one of the requests from this group was like, we need help getting the word out more, and there's a public input period. And basically the request concerning both of these cell towers is that they're not in the right location. They should be more closer to commercial development. One of them is on a rural scenic road. Another one is actually smack dab in the middle of a greenbelt nature preserve, and that one is another large issue. So again, like, how do we, everyone's busy, people aren't always aware, they find out after the fact when it's too late. I think we had some gentlemen in here not that long ago sharing some concerns about a different but kind of relatively similar situation,
Solar
the siting council, with the solar farms. So like, again, just nothing to decide right now, but to think about, and if you guys have thoughts, you can reach out directly to Stacy, so we don't accidentally have any legal meeting and give any input or feedback, or, take a look at it, but it's definitely, again, I feel like we're here to help facilitate.
Yeah,
And
I don't see an issue with us writing something that's even informative.
Just informative, right? Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to state an opinion on it, but you could inform people and say, here's how you do this. Here's where
Yeah.
these are, because I
Because
think
even if
you're
you
right,
don't
people
live,
don't know
yeah,
about
even
it.
if you're not directly impacted, because maybe you don't live there, you don't use that site, there's more of these coming all the time.
Yeah.
And your area could be the next one,
Yeah.
so it might be helpful too, if you want to engage for the community.
Or with the Greenbelt. I mean, a lot of people work hard, for the Greenbelt, so, a lot of people might want to comment on
Yeah.
it.
Yes, they really might. So that's one thing. And not to end on a really positive note, we had a really great meeting with Veolia, if I'm pronouncing their name right, who runs our water pollution control plant, but we were selected for this major, Chris knows about this major study on climate resiliency for our 3 treatment plants and our 17, 19 substations. And we met with somebody from the research team. Two people are at different places in Connecticut and one's out of Boston. And they'd already met with Circa. I think they did like a 2-day meeting already, and Dan from the WPCA participated, and they're doing a lot of data collection and analysis at this point, and then it'll go into like a next phase of like more vulnerability assessment, and then potential solutions with cost benefit, high level but cost benefit analysis. So it's super exciting, and they thought Circa was just going to be kind of providing input, but Circa actually wants to like partner with them on the project, and so that was like a big major step forward. And we're so excited because Veolia is already working now. We set them up to talk with the high school about a class, and they've been integrating it. So in the fall, there will be some wastewater stuff incorporated with the goal of in the spring doing the internship, and then the following year actually having like real true curriculum, books, everything. But they want to get them involved in this climate study for the students. So there'll be a way to engage the students as well. So it's just so exciting. So that was really, really positive. And we talked to them about maybe in October, they could do a kind of public-facing session and to be able to get some more input and get some back and forth. So they're going to look at that just depending on where they are with their...
Veolia's going to do that?
Yeah. With our WPCA, and then maybe we said the students could get involved in helping put that presentation even together. So I think it'll be really exciting. So that's really, really positive. And again, talking about long-term planning, it'll really help inform their facilities plan that they're doing right now, which is underway. And on a kind of downside, why we got selected was, I guess, the Mystic plant is the #1 most vulnerable water pollution control plant in the entire state of Connecticut.
That's good.
#1.
to know.
So, but it's good that we're being, again, proactive and
Yeah.
planning.
Well, we know we
the
have to do
water's coming
something,
and we
so
have to do
this- yeah.
something. So it was really good.
That's great.
Minus, the negative downside.
And the Stonington Borough Plan is the #2.
Probably,
Yeah.
it really honestly is. And Pawcatuck one looks good, so.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, I'll stop there because that was super positive. Anything else? Kyle, did I miss anything important? All right, thank you. So we can stand adjourned at 6:48.
Thank you.